Hi everyone, it's me again, and we're back in my actual apartment at my actual house. So, no more weird lighting videos. Obviously, Squish Gang is present again. You could actually see all of them this time, which is great. And today we're going to talk about why people don't believe Gabbie Hanna. Like, what exactly is the issue here? Because a lot of obviously her stans and her fans kind of like to deflect as to that it's a result of the drama channels and it's a result of the commentators such as myself that are swaying people's opinions instead of actually watching the content. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to make a breakdown of different categories of what makes this the way that it is. But I'm also going to reference it through Danielle Prada, Joey Graceffa, and Alx James' videos. Like, I'm going to see, like, what exactly are the people on the defense doing that is more well received. Because if you look at like to dislike ratios of their videos, they're good. Gabbie Hanna doesn't even have them, so that implies, where they're going to be. I'm very happy to be back here, and I should be back to somewhat of a regular content soon. I hope to make a podcast episode about the upcoming Canadian election. Also, please, I don't know, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. I don't like doing that stuff. I don't feel like a real influencer type, right? I also want to shout out the Twitter accounts After Hours and Cody Rants for helping me get receipts for this video, because there were just some things I was trying to find that I didn't have, honestly, the energy to search for again. The general direction of this video is going to be broken down into 4 topics, just like my Trisha Paytas video as well. So the topics for this video are going to be 1, Gabbie Hanna's violations of the Maxims of Conversation. 2, attitude and what that means for rhetoric. 3, manipulation and misuse of evidence. And 4, the reason the videos were made and the importance of intention and association. So let's get right into it because we have lots to talk about today. So when we're looking at part 1, the Maxims of Conversation. So this is something that I found when I was looking through my old linguistics work. When I was trying to talk about something else that we'll get to after. And then I came across the Maxims of Conversation section of the course, which was really prevalent in kind of how content creation is made, because there's a reason why a lot of people don't like long-winded, blabby videos from people that they don't really know. Because it's like, if there's no attachment to the person rather than attachment to the content, the maxims of conversation are very prevalent. So the 4 maxims are quantity, quality, relevance, and manner. Quantity being say neither more or less than is required. Quality meaning say only what you believe to be the truth. Relevance as to say only what is appropriate for the topic. And manner to be brief, concise, and clear. So now we're going to go through how Gabbie Hanna breaks every single one of these maxims in her series, and why that might make people not respond well to the notion that she's trying to bring, given that she's trying to do ineffective communication as her strategy to discuss these topics. So we're looking at quantity, right? Let's think about how this series always starts.
Why do I do this to myself? I look so cute all day. That's a lie. But like, why don't I ever film? I don't care. I am gonna try to make it look a little better though. Wow, I can't believe this is what my solution was to feel better.
Each episode tends to be kind of a vlog style content with a very clickbait title. This is kind of a strategy that a lot of people are aware of to expand watch time and to make people want to watch as long as possible because they're waiting to get to the point that the video is about it, right? And they also do it in like weird bursts where like she'll mention at the beginning for a couple minutes and then she'll mention something else. And then she'll talk about like ADHD and losing her phone or smunk and dunks or something like that.
ADHD specialist, because I realized I just need to like kind of go straight to the source. I already know I have ADHD. I've had ADHD my whole life. When I talked about it in a vlog, the I See Dead People vlog, there are people being like, like, just, you don't know, like, stop diagnosing. I'm not diagnosing myself. I have ADHD. I just never wanted to medicate it.
And then we'll go back into like the pretty heavy content. Gabbie Hanna deflects responsibility and just kind of builds up with all of these excuses, creates an oversaturation or too much quantity in the conversation that she's having, because that's not necessarily relevant. If you're talking about the actions that someone else is doing, it's probably not the best idea to be filling it with excuses on your own behalf. Well, Gabbie Hanna will probably read that or watch this and just be like, oh my god, well, if I don't defend myself, people are going to be like, well, you did something wrong. The problem is like everyone is aware that there are going to be 2 sides to it, and so are you. Because your whole series is about that. Your whole series is about based on that self-awareness of the both sides. So for you to be filling it with excuses, kind of putting it all back into you every single time, it's just filler. Like, it's pretty obvious that in these circumstances you were frustrated. Or in these circumstances you know, because people are aware of your internet career, right? I was trying to save face, I was trying to keep this contract. It's like, yes, that's kind of a given. That's kind of like me kind of saying, you know, well, I go to class to pass my courses. It's like, you assume I'm going to class to, like, you know, do something, right? Because then we get into what's called quality, right? Which is, it says, say only what you believe to be the truth. I'm going to say that technically, Gabbie Hanna does have this, because it says what you believe to be true, not what is true. These are, you know, Gabbie Hanna's the first one to say, like, it's not pragmatic's the word I'm looking for, but like specifics. You know, she said, like, on that fucking god-awful Keemstar podcast, like, get out of your C word if you are going to be bitching about specifics, you know.
Fucking hang on to words so heavy.
Dude, get the fuck out of your own cunt if you care that much about semantics. Get off the internet.
It's craziness,
for real. Everybody
man.
tells me, you're so sensitive, get off the internet. But if I respond to anybody who's literally been lying about me for 2 years, then I'm...
However, in this case, the specifics are very relevant. Specifics are often very relevant when you're talking about pretty intense situations. And I'm not talking about specifics in the excuses that you're trying to form, specifics in regards to the events that occurred. And kind of the event that happened in the time. I do think that the maxim caves when Gabbie Hanna hedges her argument with claiming memory issues. There's hypocrisy that comes in here, right? A lot of people like to bring up, you know, don't dish it out if you can't take it, right? But beyond that, Gabbie Hanna will claim memory issues of these things that happened years and years ago, but then post a fan-made video about Alx James and Jessi Smiles that is like complaining about a timeline that is jumbled by maybe about a month's time that happened 10 years ago.
Just let me just tell you the story. In Gabbie's video, she says that I lied about the first time that I met Curtis and that I didn't meet him at Nash's house, that I met him on this tour. I met Curtis for the first time at Nash Greer's house at like the end of November, early December 2013. And now the TMZ article of what he had done to Jessi hadn't come out yet. Literally just Viners had found out or had heard about what had happened. And now this guy, Curtis, is here in Charlotte. Apparently the reason why he was in Charlotte is because he was doing some tour. So he hit up Nash and was like, look, I'm in Charlotte. She was like, yeah, no, it wasn't at the end of November. But she spells beginning wrong and she says begging. It was the begging of November. Sorry that I did not get that exact date right.
While Gabbie is lying about really, really complex situations that are really, really important, Gabbie Hanna is arguing on behalf of the same thing she claims to have. Like, no one can have memory issues except for her, is what I'm trying to say here. Now, we get into what's called relevance. So say only what is appropriate for the topic. This filler content is horrific for the terms of relevance, right? Like, there's nothing important about changing your bed sheets or your bra being old when you're trying to talk about like alleged situations that have happened, right?
Yo, my bed is still not made from last night. I did sleep. Actually, that was 2 nights ago.
And also we're going to get into the fact that Gabbie Hanna will include a lot of like terms of hatred and disposition and frustration and anger and kind of tie in topics that aren't relevant and assumptions that aren't relevant to the situation to kind of gain, you know, almost plead to emotion, which is a fallacy, right? The plead to emotion fallacy is trying to get a reaction out of somebody due to your emotional state to sway them into your argument. Gabbie Hanna did this all the time. This is my studio microphone. I'm gonna hit that note all the time. In the video about Drama Channel, when she starts screaming her head off.
You knew that, Angelica Oles. And everybody else who started that rumor and went with that story and exploited a murdered teenager to the point that her dead body the photos of her dead body that were taken by her murderer and posted on the internet were being sent to her fucking mother and sister. You did that, not me. She has said that she was harmed by you, that you exploited her daughter, and you have not apologized. And I have, for her sake, because she was getting so much shit.
Like, I know I talk about that a lot. It's because that just, like, had me livid. That video had me irate. Is that how you say it? I'm French. I pronounce everything wrong. I realized. I was grumpy. Because it's like, how are you going to be so manipulative and awful and claim like you're just trying to get money off the back of this girl's death? You're just trying to get money off the family when you literally, unprovoked, made a monetized two more monetized videos on the family. Anywho. And then finally we get into manner, which is be brief, concise, and clear. And I literally just wrote, like, 6 hours is not concise, especially with repetition, because there are videos that have the same topics. All Gabbie Hanna talks about, essentially at this point in her life, is just trying to make it, like she's trying to make people feel like how she felt, despite the fact that her feelings are misguided and are kind of a reflection of her own personality, rather than the reflection of the actions that occurred to her necessarily. Like, a lot of these things I feel like are self-destructive tendencies beyond the events themselves being destructive to her. And that's why a lot of people talk about how her responses are the issues beyond the actual, like, thing that happened. Like the Bianca Devin situation, it wasn't the fact that Gabbie Hanna made the video and made the mistake, because when people pointed it out, she just deleted it, didn't say anything. Honestly, she probably could have just tweeted it, a little Twitter video, a la Keemstar, or just a little bit, like a little notes apology, and then that would have been enough. But instead, she really said manipulative and awful, and like made videos and berated people on Twitter and berated people on more videos later about, like, you know, a year or two later. I also want to bring up, because Gabbie Hanna likes to use her 10-year out-of-date undergrad. As I said in my first video, an undergrad, you can't diagnose people. An undergrad is just taking courses that pertain more specifically to something. There's no research component. There's no original kind of thinking, really. It is very much just learning topics. There's a fly. Oh, Gabbie Hanna talks about that in a 3-hour phone call. Jessi Smiles reads the trigger warning. There we go. Reads the definition of rape apologist just off of Urban Dictionary. And says, well, it's not even a real word. Well, I mean, no, most words that are 2 words are not words. Does that make sense? Like, blue socks is not a word. I'm indicating that the socks, which is a word, are blue, which is another word. It's called compounding, right? Like when you're putting let's take a term of a morpheme, okay? A morpheme tends to be the smallest portion of meaning that you can have in a word. Okay, so the definition, the linguistics definition from, the problem is my teacher gave us printout chapters of the textbook. I'll put it in text on the screen if I can find the name of the textbook itself. A root is defined as a morpheme, usually a free morpheme, that serves as a building block for other words and carries the meaning of those words. And then what you can get from a root is called a closed form compound, which means this is 2 words that don't normally go together. Like, they're not like words like un and then another word like unbelievable. It is 2 separate words that become a term when put together. So if you're looking at the term apologist actually is a morpheme and then a, I can't remember what the little thing that goes on the end, like, that just makes it mean something. That's not a morpheme, because a morpheme is the Apollo part, and then gist is just the, or and then ist is just the other part that goes on that just makes it a different type of word. And essentially, apologist refers to apologia, right? Which is like from Rhetoric, and it's from Greece and all that kind of stuff. It just means like the art of apologizing and the concept of apologizing for something, for, you know, like you feel bad about something or you're defending something, right? And then if you read the definition of apologist, it is a person who offers an argument in defense of something controversial. And I said, well, I feel like defending something that is a crime is controversial. So you can kind of throw apologist where it has to have another word in front of it. Because you can't just be an apologist. Because that means if you just call yourself an apologist, there's a part missing here. What are you defending? What makes you an apologist? What controversial takes are you going? Are you, an apologist for gun violence, or are you an apologist for, the patriarchy or sexism, or like when you're an apologist, there's a tie to it, right? So in the case of Gabbie Hanna, they just call her a rape apologist because that's what she's being an apologist for. That's the controversial thing that she is defending. So just here I have defined it for you using linguistics and rhetoric and English. There's your explanation that's not Urban Dictionary, if that's what you wanted, Anyways, so now we get into the attitude. So I said, think about an audience not as an element of your own personal worth, but an intellectual entity in which your own job depends on, because those two things are not the same. Gabbie Hanna is basing her worth on her audience as like an emotional sense, not worth monetarily. And I know that sounds really horrible to say, that your audience isn't just money. Okay, I know that for a fact. But what I'm trying to say is the audience is a reflection of her work, and they shouldn't be a reflection of necessarily like her being. Like she's like, till I am in the good graces of everyone, I'm in shambles. And it's kind of, if you've dug your own grave in this way, you can't just assume that you could just keep going in the same way that you are and provide proof, which isn't actually proof, and get away with it, because that's not how that works. And Chaim Perelman explains this, I've referenced him before, that there's something called an intellectual contract that you create with your audience, okay? And how you do this effectively is in 4 steps. To employ language and non-formal reasoning. So only providing screenshots, not explaining them, and then just blabbing on about things that aren't relevant is not good non-formal reasoning. 2, certain elements of agreement must be selected. This means that there needs to be some common ground that they have with each other, right? And then you have your mutual goodwill. I'll play another compilation of her freaking out and being a horrible person, because that's not goodwill.
Fuck you. Fuck all of these people for what they've done to me. That's how narcissistic and abusive this is, and how much she cannot accept any type of crap. That you made a book mocking me. You fucking weird ass bitch. You published a book mocking me. Everything I want to say, unless she opens her fucking mouth and says something else, because I just want to let everyone know I don't give a fuck anymore. I responded, and guess what? I'm malicious. I'm drama seeking. She inserted herself into a situation that had literally nothing to fucking do with her. Criticism that women get, and Angelica inserted herself and said that it wasn't for me to call my bully a bully. Because that's what narcissistic, gaslighting, abusive people do, is they want to say whatever they want, and then if you respond, then you're a bully. If you stand up to your bully, you're a bully. That's narcissistic abuse, Miss Ma'am.
Mutual goodwill is really important because it's the attitude of the person and how they're presenting it that could be a huge deterrent for people. I have a section about that at the end. And 4, balanced unfolding of the debate. Claiming no fault. Only trying to build excuses as to how you have no fault is not balanced. And the only time that Gabbie Hanna attempts to do anything balanced is talking about the escape the night. And saying that like Joey talking shit about her was unfounded because I apologized. Which, like, the quality of that apology is one thing. And also, again, if Gabbie apologizes then still acts like trash and doesn't stay true to that apology at all, is it really an apology? But, we've been new. Part 3 is manipulation. Now we have our new section where I bring up, again, how confidence is technically your priority in your discourse in modern day conversations. You probably are believing me because of my confidence, beyond the fact that, you might know what I'm talking about. while I'm saying that, I do have notes, okay? Like, my Apple Pencil's sticking out because I'm trying to charge it, but there's, like, notes and references and stuff. It's probably so bright and you can't see it, but, like, I can't tell because I can't see what's on the camera. But I do, like, research. Like I said, I'm reading and referencing. I have the stuff tagged below normally if I'm using, like, an actual textbook. In this case, I'm using lecture slides. I can't reference those because it's copyright infringement, apparently, my university, blah, blah, blah. But I'll reference like I said, I'll try to find the linguistics textbook. But I'm doing, like, concrete referencing here. But I could technically just say I am, and then I'm not. I know that doesn't look too good to say that, but I'm just trying to be honest and explain how it primarily what you're depending on from me is the confidence in my discourse and the confidence in my speech patterns rather than my actual sources, because you can't see them. But like I said, the reason why I don't show them like on the screen is because, like I said, my university says I'm not allowed to redistribute the content. So I just like don't want to get sued, because I like to use the slides from the courses because they're much more condensed and way easier to read. Because I actually do have the book. I don't know if you can see, there's a stack of books over there. I do have the books that everything comes from, and I have read them. So I also wanted to say that Gabbie Hanna will post her receipts, assuming that no one will read them, because there's a certain kind of internet fallacy that I've noticed has formed. Okay. Appeal to authority fallacy, where the authority is actually screenshots rather than an individual. The appeal to authority fallacy, it refers to, essentially, if I said, let's say little kids do this a lot, right, by accident. Obviously, they're not trying to, like, inherently be evil and inherently be wrong, right? But they'll say things like, well, that can't be true. Let's say a kid tells another kid that Santa's not real. Trigger warning for the kid. Jeez, if I just ruined a kid's life, man, I swear. Anyways, if a kid goes up to another kid and said, like, Johnny goes up to Maggie, okay? Johnny says, Maggie, Santa's not real. And then Maggie goes, that's not true. My dad told me that he is. That is appealing to the authority of the father as the ultimate correctness in this, conversation. Maggie is saying that there is a correctness because of her father being the one to have the conversation. I'm just going to move this a little bit. And that's not obviously completely well-founded. We know that, right? And Gabbie Hanna is saying this is true because I have screenshots. But then when you actually look at the screenshots, they're not accurate to the situation. Same thing as Gabbie Hanna was really confident to post those that 3-hour phone call, assuming that no one would listen to it. But when you're on like the end of like an internet hate train, you bet they're going to listen to it. Whether they're going to take 3 hours to do it, that's not necessarily relevant, because lots of people such as me, like to listen to stuff at 2 times speed, So Gabbie Hanna assuming that anything that can look like a receipt can go up. I'll post screenshots like those iconic Twitter accounts I mentioned before. I'll mention again here. At After Hours, but the U is a V. And then at Cody Rants, where Cody is K-O-D-E-E. K-O-D-E-E, sorry, pardon me. How they kind of help me find how there's like duplicates to like fill volume. That's kind of like when, you try to get like your word count in on your essay, and instead of saying like because, you go, this is the result of a fact of the event that occurred in this point. Like if you're trying to like really pull it out. I tutor, by the way. If you want me to give you essay tips. And there's a matter of that she's doing filler and reference filler, which is so toxic because a lot of people have like been able to like really solve some problems by being able to provide evidence, like Jessi Smiles and Joey Graceffa and Daniel Prada. But the difference is how they present them, right? Because Daniel and Jessi and Joey are reading them along with you, breaking down the specific receipt.
I'm genuinely trying not to engage with this stuff because it's gossip, but this is one that truly confuses me because I don't understand why anyone believes it. If I collabed with my friend's ex, especially publicly, where is it? Where is any photo, any video? It doesn't exist because it didn't happen. That man is not my friend, has never been my friend. I think I tweeted at him one time before I ever even met Jessi, and that's it. So how this story is a thing, I'll never understand, but I want to.
Gabbie Hanna doesn't do this very often. Right? She'll just pop them in really quick. You can't even read them. They're so fast, right? So the confidence in the receipts is a huge difference there. And that is something that you should probably be evaluating when you're watching the content. It's the same thing as when you learn how to look at like library references and like scholarly articles. You can tell like BuzzFeed doesn't write to the same quality as an academic journal, like the Oxford Academic Journal. So these are types of things that you need to evaluate in the case that looking at how Gabbie Hanna presents receipts and how her lying haters or her ex-friends or whatever present things. Like, this is very different. That confidence is where you need to look into, because Gabbie Hanna can present confidence in her own thoughts, but when there's no confidence in the evidence, then you need to be suspicious of that. And that's another reason why people don't believe her. And finally, again, it boils down to intention. You can see how Joey, Alx, Daniel, and Jessi Smiles kind of have a different approach, right? What it is they are having to deal with current things that are occurring. Gabbie Hanna keeps saying, well, Jessi pulled this video out after years of not talking about it. No, it was provoked by you DMing a fan. This series wasn't provoked by anything. It was provoked by a long-term dislike that's not relevant to the exact time that you started making them. These are very different things. Joey and Daniel and Alx are doing it based on, you know, what you've currently provoked. And that's not the same thing. You're looking at an intention of trying to drag people through the mud unprovoked versus trying to defend yourself whilst provoked. And even then, if you look, most of them have other videos pretty frequently, right? Or they don't really live their life on YouTube the same way. Your content has become driven on provoking people. So these intentions are going to waver how much people are going to believe you. That's like a bully. High school bullies. This is like a high school bully trying to defend themselves for that this person's being a bad person to them. Someone will probably be likely to say, well, I think you're provoking them. They probably mean to you back after all this time. Like, that's not a reaction that you shouldn't expect. Naturally, that's what I think anyways. In conclusion, Alex's video had a better demeanor. So did Joey, so did Daniel's, so did Jessi's. It's how it kind of comes together. And that's how there's a big difference in the way that things are formed. Also, don't let Gabbie fold and say that, well, the Alx video was fan-made, it wasn't me. Don't. You're putting that on your platform that now you have endorsed it. If I post someone else's video on my channel, I endorse it. I'm putting my name on it. When you click that video, it says Gabbie Hanna or whatever, the Gabbie Show or whatever the hell it is underneath. Do not let her snake you on that one if that comes into play. So thank you for watching, everybody. I invite you to suggest videos down below. I will be able to film much more frequently now. I will be going back to school on campus, so I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm just really happy to be back here and able to kind of do all this fun stuff again, and I look forward to editing this. Actually, I didn't like having to film in my boyfriend's childhood bedroom, and now I can like edit my stuff on Sony Vegas with my computer not overheating every 5 seconds. So I hope you guys have a great day. I hope to be able to make more content for you and have a great time. Bye.
But I just can't date a dude. Then we fell in love. Good soup. Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. Rick.